So, we all have technology in our classrooms, right? Laptops, tablets, you name it. But here's the big question. Are we really using it to its full potential? Today, we're going to explore how we can go way beyond just digital worksheets and actually use tech to transform the way our students learn.
Okay, let's just dive right in. I want you to think about the last time you used tech in a lesson. Was that tool being used for genuine, honest-to-goodness discovery? Or was it kind of just a digital version of a worksheet? That very distinction is the key to everything we're unpacking today.
And this leads us to something we can call the classroom tech paradox. It's this weird situation where technology is literally everywhere in our students' lives, but once they walk through the school doors, its power often feels, well, pretty limited.
I mean, our students are digital natives, right? Outside of school, they're creating amazing things, connecting with people and exploring worlds with these incredibly powerful tools. But then they step into the classroom and that whole dynamic can flip. Suddenly that supercomputer in their hand is just being used for, passively taking in information.
It really highlights the two faces of classroom tech. On one side, you've got technology for consumption. That's where students are just receiving information. But on the other, way more powerful side, you have technology for creation, where students are the ones actively designing and building new ideas themselves.
So, the million-dollar question, how do we solve this paradox? Well, it's not about buying new gadgets. It's about a fundamental shift in how we think, making a conscious move away from simple consumption and taking a deliberate step towards creation.
This is it. This is the mission, right here. The whole goal is to empower our students to stop being just passive consumers of stuff and to start becoming active designers and creators. The second we make that shift, we unlock what technology can really do in education. And look, this isn't just some neat teaching trick. Making this change helps build the absolute essential skills our students need for the modern world. We're talking about the ability to evaluate information, to design new solutions, solve really complex problems, and, maybe most importantly, become lifelong learners.
Now, to make this shift happen, we really need a clear framework. So let's take a look at the key ideas behind what's known as building knowledge with ICT.
First things first, what do we even mean by ICT? It sounds kind of formal, I know. It's just information and communication technology. Think of it as the entire digital toolkit. The hardware, like computers and tablets, and all the software, from web browsers to cool collaborative apps. The whole shebang. And second, this is the really important part. Knowledge construction. This is not about memorizing facts and just spitting them back out. Nope. This is the active process where students are generating ideas and building understandings that are genuinely new to them. It's that aha moment, and technology can help us get there. And knowledge construction isn't just some vague concept. It has a real structure. You can think of it as standing on 4 pillars. First, interpretation, making sense of stuff. Then, analysis, breaking it down. Third is synthesis, mashing ideas together in new ways. And finally, evaluation, judging if something is credible and valuable.
Okay, so that's all the theory, but what does this actually look like in a real, live classroom? Let's get into some practical, down-to-earth examples. All right, before we look at any specific apps or tools, here is the single most important question you can ask yourself when you're planning a lesson. Who is in control of the technology? Is it you, the teacher, or is it the student? Seriously, the answer changes everything. Let's look at this. On the left, you've got a teacher-led demonstration. It's pretty passive, right? The kids are just watching. But on the right, you have student-led exploration. Here, the students are actually using the simulation themselves, tweaking things, testing ideas, and making their own discoveries. That's where the magic of knowledge construction happens. Let's run through a few quick this or that scenarios. So students using Excel just to add numbers together? Well, that's just a calculator. That's a simple task. But using Excel to analyze the data from their science experiment, to find trends, to draw real conclusions, now that is knowledge construction. That's real analysis. Or how about this one? Students watching a video about how stars are formed. It's interesting for sure, but it's passive consumption. Now compare that to them using a computer simulation to play with the variables, to change the mass and temperature, to see for themselves how a star is born. That's active investigation. And even with a tool as simple as Microsoft Word. Using it just to type up an essay they've already written out by hand, that's basically secretarial work. But using Word's tools to outline their thoughts, organize their arguments, and pull together different sources while they are writing, now you're talking. That is creation. So let's pull all of this together and zoom out for a second.
Why does this distinction matter so much? Because our goal isn't just to get through today's lesson plan, it's about getting our students ready for their future.
If there's one key takeaway, it's this. We're not just using tech. We are putting a strategy in place to empower students, to help them become creators, not just consumers, in a world that increasingly values new ideas and innovation. So we're going to end right where we started, with a question for you to think about. How will you empower your students to create, not just consume, tomorrow? The tools are already there. They're already in their hands. Our job is to help them unlock all that incredible power.